completely run down everything.
All right, hello everybody, welcome back. If you're watching us from the archives, hello, this is your VOD. Apologies again to everybody on stream. We are having our small share of technical difficulties this afternoon. My name is Paige Stram, and I'm joined loud and clear finally yet again by Papa Smithy. Welcome back.
Hello, hello, hello. And last thing you remarked on that probably should brought up, we are seeing a Karthus pick, but this is the newly nerfed Karthus.
It is. But Mr. Stewie's playing him. He's definitely got confidence on that champion. Yes, just to quickly recap you all, guys, if you're just joining us, MIS Consulting on your left, they've gone with Vladimir Gragas and Blitzcrank as their bans. They're going to go ahead. They've picked up Amumu Karthus, Malphite, Nunu, and Graves as their champions. And on your right, Team Synergy, your purple team for the draft, picked up Cho, Alistar, and Shen as their bans. And picked ahead with Sona, Ezreal, and Nautilus, no surprise there, Morgana, and actually Akali, another one of Synergy's, I guess, trademark champions. Probet Kenwalsh just does love to run that one. And yes, apologies everybody. XSplit had a recent update. Looks like it wasn't having all that much fun interacting with Skype, but we've seemed to have fixed all the problems, which is fantastic. And now we are back and ready to go, as 6 more seconds of delay time tick down. Sadly, not a whole lot of time to analyze the rest of the draft. But what do you think of the picks overall?
I guess the one thing I was pointing out during my downtime, I guess, was we do see Sona Ezreal, the instant lock-in from Synergy, but this time no Blitzcrank to terror them. So Saki showed us last game just how strong Blitzcrank is against a Sona lane, but this time you can pick Sona fairly confidently. And as we load in, I have to wonder, is it going to be another arcade Sona rocking that awesome new skin?
I certainly hope so. That skin is...
There it is.
Oh, yes.
Fried Chickens pulls through.
Sadly, the overlay is blocking the name of it. But yes, you can see the kind of the top half. I guess that's the important half as well. And yeah, it's lots of skins, actually. Continued skins here. And even... Oh, right, Graves. That's very fancy. Lots of fanciness going on.
It is back in the store. I know you missed it last time, so perhaps you should get back in there.
Possibly. Because that was fairly embarrassing when I missed that skin. Other than that, we've got 5 down the bottom there in terms of skins on the Synergy side. And a bit of a letdown up in top. We've only got 3. But we do have Riot Graves to try and make it a little bit better. But Takeshi and Delusions, letting us down there.
So Malphite getting through the draft is probably the most notable thing. Malphite definitely not been... And the double attack speeds, though, the Nunu Malphite combo there could be really, really terror for Ezreal, who, of course, gets all that free attack speed from his passive.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I mean, Malphite, he's just kind of the dude that hunts AD carries. That's his job. So, nice. We should see Delusions doing what he wants to do in that lane. He's actually up against Akali, which is an interesting matchup. Not too sure how that one's going to play out. Akali definitely has the burst to run through Malphite if she so desires. And now we are loading into this game. Now, apologies again to all the stream viewers. We missed most of the draft, but at least we got the picks out to you all as well on the archives as well. We are joined here for round 3 action, round of 8. Here at the MWave Go4LoL Cup, as presented by ESL Australia. We've got MIS Consulting on your left, they'll be your blue team for this one. Synergy on your right will be your red squad for this one. Mr. Stewie going to be playing AP mid Karthus there on the MIS side. Delusions going up in top as Malphite and Emumu being played by Cohen here, actually. In the jungle, Troll off feed, down in bottom is AD on Graves, and Takeshi's going to be playing support as always, running the Nunu, and we can see lots of aggression here actually by Synergy. We've got Probit Kenwalsh just running on Akali. Cutie Panda as always will be on jungle. Nautilus, Fried Chicken's up. I don't think I'm going to have time here, because I think Koena is possibly going to get caught here. Dredgeline, actually no skilled leveled up yet for Nautilus, so Cutie Panda well playing smart, realizes he doesn't need to insta-level up something, and they are going to successfully invade Amumu's blue, so they do have vision here. Nice ward actually placed there with the expected blue invade here, and this is actually interesting. It's a more standard invade. We've seen a lot more late invades happen as of late. Oh, that was a horrible unintentional pun. But we have seen teams favoring to go in late and try and pick up a kill.
And Synergy very noted counter junglers. We've seen Cutie Panda Whale on stream in one form or another in Australia quite often, and he's always in the enemy's jungle, especially at level 1. So just a show of aggression, just a sign of how strong their level 1 comp is.
Yeah, and just to round them up as Synergy back up towards their own blue now. Fried Chicken's going to be playing on Stoner and support, and Tempest 36 to round out the lineup on none other than Pulsefire Ezreal, who I believe still announces to the world when he is doing things. I
wouldn't have it any other way, basically.
Oh, Ezreal, how you disrupt.
And I guess, the way I look at you were asking about the comps. Now, the one thing you can say is that MIS's comp here, the former Monkey and Tree Friends, for the eagle-eyed viewers, is very straightforward. Because look at that hard engage they have between Amumu and Malphite. They're all about AoE all the time in team fights. And Amumu ult, a Malphite ult, Karthus with his Defile on, and Graves' is Q and R. I mean, not even mentioning Nunu's potential for getting an ult off. That's AoE City. But on the other side, Morgana, Nautilus, and Sona all about engages. The interesting thing I have here is they're going to have to counter engage, because their engage compared to the plan A of MIS is is just not as. I mean, they have engaged like in a normal time, in a normal team comp, a normal game. You'd be like, okay, they've got good engage, but MIS has all the engage. And probably the biggest wildcard of the whole game here is Akali, because Akali is not about AoE. It's not about AoE team fights. And how she survives both the lane and her potential for assassination in team fights, I think will tip the balance of this game.
Yeah, I think so as well. And this is really just a comfort choice, I think, other than anything else. I mean, Malphite versus Akali, maybe a good matchup for Akali.
An early flash blown down bottom. Sorry to cut you off by Ezreal. Just troll or feed. Got an early level 2. Wow, okay. There's a lot going on apparently.
Don't worry, caught that one up in top as well. That was a fantastic gank by Cutie Panda Whale as well. Pretty much just literally walked up to Malphite there and just snail hook. Yeah, you're dead. Enough damage there from Akali to clean it up. And first blood will actually go to Akali up in top. And if there's anybody on either of these teams that wants to get first blood, it is absolutely Akali. She is the Snowball Queen. And they should actually make an Ice Queen skin for Akali. That'd be sweet. Because Snowball, you get it? Anyway.
Fair enough. I like it. I like it. They have an Irelia frost skin, but she doesn't. Does she snowball lane quite as hard? Maybe not.
No, I don't think so. She just farms.
But you look at Akali. Well, I just got done talking about how Akali was the wild card here, and boom, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I think this matchup's not too bad for Akali. It's fairly easy for her to get through Malphite's shield, and of course Malphite is generally better positioned against, I guess, AD champions, especially attack speed based champions, of course, because he's got so many great debuffs between his E, and I believe his ultimate also debuffs as well, although it could just... I think it does. Let me check. Unstoppable Force. No, it doesn't. Only his E does. Apologies, everybody. Looks like MiS is in a lot of trouble, though. Coena looking for a kill. Great hook there! And Coena, I think, no, not going to die there. Flashes out from under the turret. And Stewie actually tanks a tower hit there as well for him. So really, really tight play there from Karthus to save his jungler. But wow, what a fantastic reactionary hook there from Cutie Panda. Almost, nabbing a Moomy there with the dredge line. And almost getting a second very quick kill. And double buffs as well, which would have refreshed on that jungler. So just a really, really aware play there. And a great counter gank there in mid, I guess, to save Morgana.
And I guess, I mean, the reason why I dwell on this Akali pick here is that Akali is strongest against unorganized team fights, against picking someone off 1v1s. And the MIS side, I mean, the Akali was last pick as well. So she knew fully well she's against massive AoE, and that's probably her strongest weakness. So how Akali comes into the game with early gold, that's definitely a great thing. I guess, with a Guardian Angel and picking a very good counter engage. But... it's the Akali, I think, the super wild card here.
This is an interesting ward, actually. I just noticed this one. I don't know if it was intentionally placed there, but the Synergy guys actually have a ward just next to their tower down in bottom lane. I'm trying to figure out what that's for.
I can speculate as to what happened there.
Okay, go ahead.
Would you like to hear? This is just complete speculation, but I believe Fried Chickens was trying to ward over the cove into that brush there, and failed it.
Yep. I mean, again, we kind of talked about it last game as well, and actually Sona as well was doing the same thing. Some interesting ward placements you can get. You can kind of manipulate the game in interesting ways, but it looks like Fried Chickens, as I think you correctly speculate, maybe had a bit of a miss there with the ward. Maybe I'll ask him after the game. But as it is right now, after the early level 1 action and a great bit of action in mid as well, kind of slowed down the game a little bit here. Akali currently sitting on 32 CS to 19 actually, so doing a great job here, kind of aggressively trying to zone out Malphite, and this is kind of what Akali wants to do, just keep Malphite at bay for as long as possible. She's got double amp to him actually, she came back with after that first blood, so really doing a ton of damage here to Malphite, who right now without any items can't really shake off a whole lot of this damage. Cohen are actually down the bottom fishing for a kill, and we do have a pause coming out as well, but we do have the bottom lane of Synergy already backed off as well, so Ezreal and Sona will be safe for now, and looks like somebody, I'm assuming, is having connection problems.
There's an apology. Apparently the AD said he was lagging.
No worries. Hopefully he... It's hilarious. It's funny you should mention that actually, because Ping is talking about latency. That's all they're talking about. So,
and if you remember, there's some messages here by Akali saying "say" before pausing. If you remember one of our previous casts, there was a lot of hilarious pauses in a game where Probit was playing Akali against a Vladimir. So hopefully no shenanigans with the pauses this game.
Sadly, no troll pull here to kind of, lure out Akali. I mean, the damage kind of stays on Malphite. Once you get through the shield, the damage kind of stays on Malphite. And again, Akali has more than enough here if she's able to proc the damage off Mark of the Assassin. And again, aggressively getting into Malphite here. This is something that Probit has actively chosen to do. Dizzy now in the mid, actually trying to get a kill onto Karthus. There's a Soul Strike who's going to proc, and that's enough Tormented Soul damage. Great play there from Morgana, picking up a solo kill in mid there.
And I think Delshans has to be very careful. He's given up the early first blood. It's fine that he's going to be losing the lane until he can go back and shop, because the first time he was only able to pick up some pots. But if he goes GP10 build here and doesn't have the same mana regen as perhaps a... Oh wow, as we see a tower dive coming here, and I believe decisions will go down again.
Yeah, and we've actually got an invade coming out as well. Beautifully timed here on the blue buff. Both Morgana and Nautilus trying to pick this one up with a great kill from Akali as well. Picking off the top lane. It's going to be 2v2 or 3v2 if Probit wants to rotate down as well. So great pressure here from the Synergy guys, and Cutie Pandawell is going to pick up that blue buff pretty much like clockwork. As we said, these guys, they're the jungle invade team. If you've ever seen them play, they absolutely love to play this way. Just aggressively take all the buffs, try and get kills in their lane, and snowball their game from there and have a really strong mid game. Kind of, Moscow 5 style, if you want to think about it that way. And Cutie Pandawell is on point with his buff timings, and he's got an extra blue buff for himself, which against Amumu and Karthus as well, those are two champions you really want to take blue away from, so...
I'm not convinced that Cutie Pandawell knows which one's his jungle and which one's the enemy jungle. It seems to blur every time I watch him play.
I think so.
So, but I mean, I'm a bit worried about Malphite here because Delshin's, if you saw, he was very, very low on mana because he has to use his mana to try and trade with Akali. Now he's gone back and built a Negatron cloak and he's picked up a health potion. So he doesn't have a ward, which I think we've all had ingrained to us at this point between Reddit, casts, even champion spotlights. The wards are pretty good. But he does not have any mana regen, and he will run out of mana incredibly fast if he's tried to even farm against the Akali.
Yeah.
I think the Chalice of Harmony was the ideal pickup for this lane. He did not have enough gold for it, but I think even working towards it, because Chalice gives him everything he needs to survive against Akali.
I mean, you could run double null magic mantle as well. That would do a fairly efficient job. The magic's just down in bottom. Fried Chicken's in a lot of trouble. There's a depth touch coming out. Koena with a great bandage though. And I think Amumu's ultimate's going to come out. Curse at the sad bummy hits. Fried Chicken's in a lot of trouble. Heals just out of range. Koena flashes forward and now Requiem comes out as well. Koena will pick up the kill. The Troller feed goes down as well though. So 1-for-1 trade there. Now Koena trying to pick off one more. Cutie Pandawell in trouble. Titans right with the shield there. Tempest turning around for the damage. No vision actually denied there from the brush, and Tempest wants one more kill, but the snowball comes up there for Takeshi, and only one person falls with all those ultimates burned. And Karthus' ultimate, I mean, that's kind of a thing we were saying about Karthus getting nerfed. Just didn't do nearly as much damage as it used to at level 1. And to be fair, this nerf was a long time ago, but only 2 people died in that exchange. And I think
one thing that was notable there was Koena, I think, misplayed that engage. He flashed. Basically, what happened was Fried Chickens and Sona was at 1 bar of health after healing herself, flashed into tower range. Koena flashed after Fried Chickens, despite the fact that they have a Karthus. Karthus ult will 100% have killed Sona there, but he forgot that they had a Karthus to finish that off. And unfortunately that, oh wow, as we see Akali just, she's snowballed here. I mean, I said she was the wild card. This Akali is big.
Yeah, it actually meets a Mumu there. Hello! Nope.
And Mumu is smart enough to get out the hell out of Dodge.
Yeah, he backs out. And Probo just with a rampage right now, roaming just casually down the mid lane, tower dives and kills Karthus, no problem. And to be fair, Akali is great at killing Karthus if she's ahead. Karthus is all about, either kiting or getting in and getting balls deep and trying to do as much AoE damage as you can. But when you have an Akali that is basically able to force Karthus to engage on her terms and not his, and if you can kill Karthus quickly, he's just so squishy. And that's pretty much what happened there. Akali just no problems at all, tower dives straight through Karthus. And I think Stewie, he's under a lot of pressure here. I mean, he's already lost a kill to Morgana, only got a catalyst right now for his items. Which is, is great.
More generally, Pastry, I think MIS Consulting are under a lot of pressure here because, I mean, Akali has snowballed out of control already. We've established that Malphite's going to have a lot of trouble. He's picked up a Fairy Charm here, which is well needed. He's going to need that mana regen. And, 5-1 this early with jungle invades. They haven't been able to control their own jungle. I think there's a lot to like about this synergy side this game.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, down and bottom, actually, I guess, is the most... the most casual of the lanes, I guess we can call it.
Casual.
As Tempest takes
some casual laning going on down bottom, is there?
And there's already been yes, and there's already been more than enough action happening as well.
I think we're just coining terms left, right, and center here.
That's how I roll. That's how we roll.
Casual laning.
Graves is ahead in CS, which is good for him. So he's laning quite well against Ezreal Sona. I mean, Nunu Graves is a pretty potent lane. There's a lot of damage there, and of course, Nunu just makes any AD carry infinitely better. And of course, Takeshi's a classic pink ward placement, just really clearing out as many brushes as he can. Koena actually sitting down here as well. So great. Kind of double duty on that pink ward getting pulled here as Koena is able to sneak into this brush unnoticed. His ultimate, I believe, should be up for this. Yes, it is. We kind of pointless to do it otherwise.
And we see some frisky roaming going on here with the jungler And Morgana.
Yeah,
Will they be spotted? They were spotted by a ward here. So
Yep.
but what will happen?
Yeah, Takeshi needs to get out of the way. They're actually going on for Nunu, trying to find a Dark Bunny. Koena with a great bandage, but going straight in as well. There's that movement ultimate coming out. Cutie Panduel takes a ridiculous amount of damage, but picks up Takeshi for his trouble. Koena trying to get taken out. The Tempest goes ridiculously deep, but picks it up with a flash and Arcane Shift there to pick up the tower dive. And our Troll feed gets nailed by a Dark Binding there by Dizzy, and Morgana can't quite find the rest. Heal from Sona, not enough, and Stewie picks it up there with his Requiem. So I believe 2 for 2 trade there. And I think not what Synergy wanted in that situation.
No, I mean Cutie Panduel tanked so many turret hits there after being Amumu ulted, and that was a fast demise. There was no potential for sharing turret tanking there, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean everyone just kind of went in one by one and tanked their hits, I guess, individually. Instead, what you want to do is, of course, try and share as much of that turret aggro as you possibly can. I mean, I thought Tempest went way too far in that dive. He did manage to get out and, had to use the Karthus ult to get there, but when there's a Karthus, if you get that low, you're a guaranteed kill. And you don't want to give a Karthus that Morgana's actually doing a fairly good job beating at this point. Although it will have evened up now a little bit, as Stewie will pick up his blue buff for himself as well, which is another advantage that Synergy definitely like to take out, and then they're going to deny themselves the enemy blue, which sounds like a weird thing to say, but given how aggressive their invades are, it kind of makes sense. They are going to get Dragon in this situation. Oracles has been finished up for Cutie Panduel, so continuing the theme of aggressive jungle control here by the Synergy side. And this is great as well. They'll probably pick up this Dragon fairly uncontested. Takeshi will ward it, but I don't think he's going to be able to do a whole lot to stop them, unfortunately. And I think we will see Synergy pick up this Dragon. Looks like they will be able to get it. Smite should come at any moment now, and there we are. The red team has slain the Dragon. So Synergy will pick up that one 13.5 minutes or so into the game. But I think there's something to be said about being too aggressive. They've got a Kali.
You can afford to make that mistake once, especially when you're that far ahead. If they do it again, they'll be in trouble.
Yeah, and double wards going down in here as well. Just double division, no problem.
And I know Skara says on stream that 14 minutes is the par time for a really quick. He knows he's snowballing, doing well on Katarina Gunblade, and at this present stage, 90 gold till Gunblade is finished, and that's when Akali really starts to punish enemy teams once she finishes that Gunblade.
Yeah, so I think, Akali's been playing fairly snug. She's just been doing well in her lane. She's roamed fairly effectively. She's been down a couple of times. Hasn't seemed to have fallen too far behind in CS. It's actually very well ahead of Malphite at this point. Delusion's just having a lot of trouble laning at this point. And again, Akali's just like, yeah, whatever. I'll just jump onto your face and do lots of damage, because that's kind of my thing. But I'm mainly concerned about Nautilus going a little bit too far, and I think that tower dive was an example of what I think is too aggressive when you're in the lead. Because as Nautilus, you really don't want to throw away any advantage you have, because you're so good at setting up kills and setting up ganks and invading in the jungle if your team's there with you. So I think I'd like to see a little bit more of a cautious play here from Synergy. As I say that, Kali jumps straight onto Malphite yet again.
I don't think they have a cautious gear paster. I think it's all go. It's all go in. It's all just flooring it.
And that was a ridiculous ult combo. Just utterly ridiculous. Takeshi and
CC?
Koena teamed up there. Curse of the Sad Mummy into absolute zero into all the Graves damage, and they just cleaned up Tempest.
And Tempest goes and visits the Tron world, sadly.
He did. He goes back to the grid. He is dead. Poor guy. He'll be back soon though. But he's dead for this moment. And 7-4. One more kill goes on the board again for MIS Consulting. So of course, for those of you who are wondering and recognize these players, these are Monkey and Tree Friends. I have no idea why they've changed their name for this tournament.
That is their new sponsor.
Oh, awesome. Well, there we go.
MIS Consulting is their new sponsor. So congratulations to Monkey and Tree Friends, another fine Australian team being picked up and recognized for their amazing achievements recently. They did win the last MWave.
I was going to say, they did win the last tournament sponsored by MWave, so looking very good right now. Looks like two-man push is coming out. Delusions probably not going to be able to do a whole lot to hold this off. So
that's what his name is, Delusions.
Yep. Ultimate there. Unstoppable Force comes out. Koena trying to follow up, but not enough there. And no tower damage. Probit actually flashes out there. We are going to have Morgana roam back up as well, but I think everyone's going to just stay safe here. No ult there for Koena. Couldn't quite chain the CC together. Bit of a... I'd say, I guess, a wasted Malphite ult there, but Malphite, doing what he can, trying to defend his turret, and Koena will do the same here as he's picked up an Oracles of his own. But lots and lots of roaming still coming out from at least the top half of the Synergy side. Down and bottom, more farming is happening. Ezreal currently sitting at 105 to 121. So again, Graves is definitely heading CS. He's going to pick up about 10 more here as he cleans up that meaning wave with the buckshot. So bottom lane seems to be going fairly well for MIS, but... Stewie.
We see Mr. Stewie caught out here. He does exhaust. His flash is up. I think he'll get it. Wow. And that was about 1 pixel away from ending his life there.
Yeah, that was a fantastic flash from Stewie as well. Saw the depth touch coming, waited pretty much the maximum amount of time, flashed over the ridge so the ult would continue following him. and was able to get up pretty cleanly there, because even if the Dark Blinding had a hit, that's really deep into the enemy jungle with bottom lane coming up, so that may have not been a favourable engager from Synergy, and it's good to see them back off, and again, nice use of his flash there from Stewie, but this game, I guess, still in the hands of both teams, in either team, sorry. I mean, Synergy...
Yeah, for all the early game pressure Synergy have put on, it's only really Akali that's reaped the reward of it.
And she does have enough gold for her Gunblade at this point. It would be kind of silly not to yet. She's got 1,500 gold stacked up, so should have enough. I believe it's 600 gold at this point for that item, if memory of...
As fried chicken sticks, massive. That was some Graves aggression from Troller Feed right there.
Yeah, just catching the end of that as well. Oh, I have to turn
So
myself
Akali's
up,
going
apparently.
back to shop, and I guess when we see the next Dragon fight, we're going to see what the Akali factor means for this game, because she is the one to carry her team. She has Merc, Treads, and Hextech Gunblade finished at the 17-minute mark.
Apologies, everybody. Apparently, I'm a little bit too quiet, so I'm going to try and turn myself up. So I will go ahead and do that real quick, as we see a bit of pushing here coming down in the bottom line. 1 second, everybody.
Yep, just some pressure coming down, and the turret will be taken down. First turret of the game, advantage MIS.
Okay, that should be a lot better. In fact, that is very loud. Okay, I think that is about a comfortable level.
Now you sound loud to me, even.
Okay, yes, my microphone was turned down for some reason within the... I don't know why, I think Skype might have turned it up. Anyway, again, getting through all the technical issues for today. Hopefully, next game we'll have 0. I think we should. I think that's all the issues sorted at this point, but hello. And that Kawena going to come in there. Nice bandage actually onto a minion trying to set up for the ultimate, and Delusions is going to actually chase down Cutie Panda well. The Q comes out, and Stompable Force gets procced as well. Probit now rotating down. There's a lot of damage being taken by Nautilus, but a great Soul Shackles comes out from Dizzy, and now the cleanup will happen. Delusions very low. Probit trying to pick it up. There's Akali with a kill, and the Oracle's Mumu is definitely the next target here. There's the slow actually. Kawena taking a ton of damage, and there's a double kill for Akali. Requiem will come out as well. Twilight Shroud for a bit of extra magic resist. Troll of Feed taking a ton of bursts as well from Akali, and we can just see what a difference that Gunblade makes, and Mercury Treads as well. Just, you know, tanking a little bit more of that AP damage, including the ultimate there from Carthus. Probit actually gets taken out by a nice collateral damage there by Troll of Feed, so he picks up the snipe there, but very, very nice work there overall from both teams actually, and it's really hard to say who's coming out ahead on these engages, because the early game clearly in the hands of Synergy, but I think Monkey and Tree Friends, MIS Consulting, apologies, MIS are really showing their experience as a team. As we said, they did win the last MWave, and I think they're really demonstrating that they're very, very capable of pulling back from a deficit, and just in general their coordination and the smoothness of their play seems to be really, really working out for them, and I think they're keeping up because of that, just because of their experience as a team, and they seem to be handling these situations better than Synergy are, in my opinion. At least at this point.
Just to let you know, I think with your tweaking, your voice comes across a bit distorted at the moment.
Okay, let me see if I can do a little bit more tweaking.
Keep up with the tweaking, but yeah, to expand on your point, I think experience is a really underrated thing in League of Legends, as we see Morgana pick up the Nunu kill here. I think the experience gives you the idea for team comps, it gives you the idea for strategy and team fights, and it's only ever helpful. It's a really important thing to have. As MIS here, just considering what to do, they still have all their AoE ultimates up. There's going to be a big fight shortly, but on whose terms will it be?
Stewie getting very, very low.
Wow.
Picks up a kill as well. Oh, man. And there's Crucial Barrage coming out as well. Delusions get taken out. Great zone is there from Dizzy to escape the last bit of the Carthus damage, and he will die in the zombified state. Apologies, was tweaking my mic. I think it's now too low, which I'm going to have to go ahead and tweak again. But yeah, I want to...
All the tweaking.
Why do they have team fights when I'm trying to fix things?
It's just rude.
It is very rude. Anyway, I think I realized what happened. I should be able
But yeah, Mr. Stewie just exploded there between the damage, but I think it was mostly on the Akali here. And this Akali is just out of control at the moment. And it seems like my predictions come true. I thought Akali was the wild card, and at 6-1 with 600 gold and the items she has right now, she's all tooled up to do some heavy carrying here.
All right, so thanks everyone for staying with me. I think this is comfortable. Let me know. Do I sound distorted to you, Papa? I guess you can help me on that front.
You sound better.
Okay. Chat, if the levels are good, that's good. We'll run it this way. Let me just double check where we're up to in terms of... I've done a lot of tweaking today. Okay, I think this is the most comfortable... Oh, we can go one more. All right. How's that? That might be too loud.
Yeah, hard to say. As we see Cutie Panda Whale caught out by Graves, who's now unstoppable.
Yeah, gets annihilated there. That's about right, apparently, from chat. So I'll leave it like this for now. I've got the screen pulled up and ready in case I need to do any quick tweaking. Let me just quickly turn it down an XSplit just so you guys aren't getting blasted by my voice. And I think that's about good. All right, cool, awesome. And there's Dragon getting picked up by Koena. That's a Moo and the rest of his squad. Pick it up. Apologies, everybody. The camera will not have been nearly as optimal as it should be. Tweaking a few more audio settings, having our fair share of issues today, but it is all to bring you the best quality content. And we're going to shake it all up. Just going to walk it off. It's okay. And now we're going to have a mid-push actually coming out from MIS Consulting. And I guess after all we've been talking about, given what we know about numbers and things we can see on screen in terms of items, etc., who do you think's winning? I mean, like, apart from the obvious, Synergy are ahead. They're clearly winning.
I think Synergy are definitely winning. They've just misplayed two things. They just had that previous fight that they won landslide, but they did not take Dragon off it. Then Cutie Panda Whale got caught, and MIS picked up the Dragon out of it. So then definitely not pushing their advantage as much as they should be. And they kind of have to be worried here because there'll become a point where, with Oracles, all this AoE, Akali to survive through it will have to be way, way ahead. And to her credit, she is at the moment, and she's picking up this giant spell to build into Rylays for a bit more tankability. But Akali is never ideal against tanky AoE comps. And they'll have to use her efficiently. They'll have to plan their engage as well, or they are at risk even ahead of losing team fights to this AoE CC team fight heavy MIS comp.
Yeah, I mean, and he talks about how you feel like Synergy don't really have another gear apart from constant aggression, and that, again, against an experienced team like MIS, that will potentially hurt them, because if they mess up one little engage with their aggression, I mean, it obviously looks great and pays off whenever you do it right, but whenever you do it wrong, it's the complete other way, and it's kind of high risk, high reward play.
Agree, and Moscow 5 show what I would call as controlled aggression. They know when they have an opportunity or an opening how to push things, but they don't always force it. And Synergy have to show whether they have that second gear.
There's a great quick draw out as well. Trollophy getting out of the way. The dredge on Stewie goes down immediately as Dizzy goes on a killing spree. Reckon and Will Proctor zone into Hourglass will be enough to save Organa. No, it won't. And Probit goes down as well. Graves just with great positioning in this team fight, able to clean up so many kills, and it's 2 for 2 now. Koena goes back and gets himself picked off though. That was not the right move. Now Takeshi in trouble. Dredgeline just missing. Tempest, can he get one more hit? And he actually tanks a few too many tower hits, I think. Trollophy will get taken out, but picks off Ezreal as well for 544 bonus gold. And goodness gracious, 3 for 4 in the end there, with Sonar and Nautilus still alive. That was a crazy, crazy team fight. And all credit to Graves there. I think Trollophy's positioning, the quick draw out of the dredge line as well, and his entire team split away as well to make sure he was the only one that got hit as that came in. Was just incredible bit of play there, but still, Synergy actually managed to pick it up there, and I think it was maybe that Trollophy and Koena got a little bit too hasty trying to pick off those extra kills towards the end of the team fight, and they're going to pay for it. They paid with an extra kill, and they're going to pay with this tower here as well.
I think that fight gave us kind of a window into just how strong the MIS team is at team fighting, even with the strength of a guy. Wow, as we see Mr. Story with all the aggression here, flashing on top of Cutie Panda Whale, hitting his Skittles, and now you can really kind of think of that as a 4v4. But one turret was the only, as Takeshi almost face checks slightly too far there.
Yeah, he's got an Oracles as well, so that is not a good thing for him to be doing. He's going to clear out a few wards in Baron there. Uh-oh, Baron aggro. Baron hurts very as well, especially if you're
That's a very clever thing you can do if you're on the red team there. Aggro the Baron, and then anyone in the pit just takes all that free damage from Baron.
Yeah, and if it's support with Oracles, they will take a lot of damage. Baron hurts. He really, really hurts. And Nunu is now going to safely check these wards. Just wander past Baron. Please don't hurt me, Mr. Baron, sir. Okay, I'm going to throw a ward over the back as well for himself. Mr. Stro's build is fairly interesting actually as well. I noticed when he was picked up that nice kill there in mid, he's got 2 blasting ones to go with his Rod of Ages. So
it does kind of feel like a callback to the good old days of the Zhonya's ring recipe that was like triple blasting one. But I think this is just a case of he needs AP, he needs it right now, and he's not going to worry about item slot efficiency to get it.
Yeah, and I think that's a really smart decision on his part as well, given the current state that the game's in. An interesting point from chat as well. Graves is certainly ahead of Ezreal. No disagreement there. You can clearly see him. And actually, tab over to the gold for you all real quick, so you can see 9,700 up against Ezreal's 8,400. So more than 1,000 gold in the lead there for Troll or Feed up against Tempest 36. And I think Harrislad02 in the chat mentioning that if they can keep this up with Graves, he'll be able to carry them into late game. Graves had a recent change where his late game arguably got a little bit worse because there was a nerf to quick draw.
Oh, yeah, there was 10%, and of course his base attack speed was lowered, which of course affects the percentage improvement of Phantom Dancer and the like. And you're correct, but the one thing about Graves here is that Graves suits their comp to a T. at this early stage, before the need for, before the armor stacking or late game GAs get into effect, the burst he complements with all the AoE. He's able to stay at the back and still put in that massive burst, which is really helping the team fights.
Yeah, and we've seen that a lot. Oh, this is going to be a great setup, though. Very sneaky play. Actually, Dark Binding, I think Synergy caught them, but MAS going to try and get out of this one. Karthus not quite with them as well, so they're just going to run back together. Very smart play here, trying to stick together as much as possible. And again, continued aggression from Synergy. We expect nothing less. Nice ward actually there from Dizzy. Great ward, in fact. Going to sniper Binding as well. Do a ton of damage there to Nunu, but he's not going to be too unhappy about it. I wish he could eat wards. That would be fantastic.
Don't make the Yeti angry.
Don't make the Yeti angry. But again, Synergy kind of lurking around the Baron
But
here.
Synergy cannot afford to clump like this because, I mean, Malphite and Mumu, that's plan A if there ever was one. That's AoE death. They cannot afford to sit on top of each other. Specifically, Ezreal, who has no need to be in short range, needs to position well, their team needs to space in general, or they will lose a team fight.
Yeah, I mean, it feels more like Morgana and Nautilus are better suited, and Sona actually as well, are better suited for counter-engage in these team fights. They want to use their ultimates defensively rather than offensively, and then re-engage once the ultimates from MIS have been blown, and then go in there. So
Definitely.
So we'll see. I mean, it's pretty precarious. It's always interesting when you have, I guess, 6 AoE ultimates, depending on how you want to look at it.
And a lot really relies on Tempest. He needs to position well, because if he's caught in that AoE, he will die quickly and they will lose a fight.
Yeah, and something we see commonly actually when Ezreal is up against these other teams, like Probit going straight in there, Stewie, with a great stretch line there from Cutie Pandawell, and I think the disengages will be really smart here, but Probit going a little bit too deep. They're going to try and stand his Twilight, try to take a little bit less damage, but no, can't quite do it. And there's a move with a great setup, but the Soul Shackles comes in there as well. Absolute Zero procking off as well. Lots of damage being dealt there. Tempest, though, in a pretty good position. Troller feed very low, going to try and fight off somebody, but no, Tempest Arcane shifts straight onto his face to pick that one up, but Takeshi will go down there as well. Koena, the only surviving member there on Amumu, and I think that's kind of what we were talking about there. Ezreal pretty much stood his ground.
Yeah, very well positioned. He was getting free hits the whole fight, and while Troller Feed had to deal with Morgana on top of him hitting a bind and dealing with all the AP damage, if you let an AD carry with Infinity Edge and Zeal get free hits, you're going to lose the fight.
Yeah, and it's going to be mid tower and possibly mid inhibitor as well, although the rest of MIS are coming off the respawn here. I don't think they're going to be able to get this inhibitor as well. Koena coming in to defend as well on Amumu. And yep, they will back off with just the middle turret, but that's still a one team fight for Synergy, and they're looking to have more of those, and kind of as you called it.
2,100 gold on the Ezreal now. He's definitely closing that gap. In fact, he is now only 700 gold behind Graves.
And that's a great thing, given just how head Graves seem to be throughout most of this game. One thing I did want to point out, though, before that fight started, is that against these sort of comps, we often see Ezreal, who's known for being a very mobile, very slippery AD. His mobility is probably his greatest asset, in fact. As an AD carry, that's what most players pick him for. It's part of the reason he became so popular. Is you normally see cleanse in situations like this. There's just so many ults you can get caught by. Being able to cleanse out of them is very, very important. What I'm interested to see is the timing of Ezreal's QSS in this match, because he's almost certainly going to get one. I think GA would be a big mistake, given the comp that he's facing up against. Even though GA has become a lot more popular, just in general, and
with the Negatron float pickup, I think your words are being listened to.
Well, Tempest is clearly ghosting with 3 minutes. With 3 minutes
past.
away. In the past, he's a wizard. He can do all these things. Just speeding up quickly, guys, to get back to live. Realized I was a few seconds behind. I just want to make sure I'm synced up. Apologies. But yeah, we are going to have a 5-man push coming out as well from Synergy. I think possibly realizing that they are able to fight here. There's a catch Delusion, so not who you really want to catch with the Dredge Lines. Amumu's ultimate is now back up again, so they weren't quite fighting in the correct window there to make sure Amumu's ultimate was up when they re-engage. It's hard to know that, but you can do it. But they are going to go for this naked inhibitor. They missed Stewie again. The target there by Cutie Pandawell is going to get dropped immediately in this fight, I think. And there's Probit going to pick up that kill. Absolute Zero comes in, so Requiem doing great amount of damage, but Troller feed kiting beautifully there as Delusions kind of backs off. The ultimate from Morgana is fairly good, but now it's going to be Graves up against Ezreal. I don't think it's going to be enough, though. Delusions comes back in. Oh, they explode each other as Graves and Ezreal kind of bounce off each other and manage to pick up a few kills. 4 for 3 though was the exchange here in the end, as both the tanks stay alive. Malphite and Mumu just being able to do enough there, soaking up enough damage, and we kind of bashed a bunch of carries together in that team fight. But
yeah, it was 5 for 3 there. It was a very aggressive flash ultimate from Cutie Pandawell, and they did not get the purchase out of it. I mean, they took so much defile damage trying to finish off Karthus there, and their positioning really hurt for it, and they can't afford to engage on those terms. They're engaging on their own terms and then losing fights, and that's not the place to be in.
Yeah, I mean, you can clearly see that they're trying to take Karthus out of the fight quickly to take a lot of his damage out early on. But in that situation, as you pointed out, Smithy, Karthus was in the right spot. Like, he was with his team. It's not like the other fight where he was a little bit too far forward and managed to get himself picked up there by a dredge line. It was completely different, and Cutie Panda Boy went way too deep there into the enemy team, and his team just didn't have enough time to kind of work around the initiation that he'd started. And it's a great engage. Nautilus is definitely a champion that has, who kind of puts the hard and hard engage, I guess. But wasn't enough there in the end, and that definitely hurt Synergy. And any gold that MIS seems to get at this point, I think given their team comp, is very, very useful for them. We are going to see Synergy pick up yet another dragon for themselves, so continuing their strong bout of map control here. QSS is finished up as well by Ezreal. Not that I think it would have helped him in the last fight.
Guardian Angel completed on Graves here.
Oh no, and that's exactly what Graves wants.
And to get past all the AoE damage, because this is kind of a protect the comp from MIS, just because they have so many threats. You can't get past Amumu, Malphite, and Karthus with any regularity easily, can you? I mean, it's so much damage CC there. And now if you even get to Graves, if Akali, it basically neuters Akali, because she's not going to be able to kill Graves twice. She's having enough trouble killing him once.
Yeah, absolutely. And Trollofeet's playing fantastic as well. Just to kind of add to it all, his positioning, even with Akali on top of him, has been great. And Akali just didn't quite get
It's gotten to the stage now with the items available that this AoE is just completely destroying Akali. She has not been the same factor in the past 10 minutes that she was in the first 20.
Yeah, and I think the fact that she's had to build tanky as a result of all the AoE... Oh man, Dizzy in a little bit of a bad spot there. Shirelia's Amumu is coming in very, very speedy. But no, Black Shield there on Morgana, just in case. And everybody will stay safe for now. A continued aggression here from Synergy. I mean, you kind of get diminishing returns on, throwing your team at the enemy team, especially a team that is, essentially wanting to go to late game with this spot. So,
I think the next fight will tell us a lot about this game. I think the next fight will decide it. And although the gold will not necessarily reflect it, I think we'll learn a lot from the next team fight.
I think so as well. And I mean, it almost feels like that Synergy should... going together is bad because you clump up there, but they are going to go into Troll of Feed. Looks like they've changed targets for this one. An interesting fight here coming out. True Drop Raj comes in. Great ult there from Amumu, but there's Zoni's Shoal Cycles coming out as well. Tempest in a good spot here. Troll of Feed cutting back and forth as well, but getting chased up by Akali, and there's a GA getting popped as well. Tempest realizes what he needs to do, gets on top of him, but now Kowena, there's plenty of protection there. Tempest cannot get out of that one, and Probit now coming in. I think they're kind of shuffling their way in here. Going to get picked off one by one. Akali may have enough damage here, actually. Kowena pretty low. Takeshi low as well. Support Nunu. Can you do it? Probit life stealing as much as he can. The Twilight Shard for the epic troll factor, and Nautilus and Akali of all champions managed to come out on top, and that was the reverse of the trade we just saw there. 3 for 5 now in Synergy's favor, and instead of getting the tower they got 2 or 3 fights ago, they're going to get this mid inhibitor instead.
And Probit making me eat my words there. He lived just long enough that he was resetting those ultimate charges there, and so much spell vamp and lifesteal from the Hextech Gunblade kept her alive. She had no right to live that long through the fight, but wow.
Yeah, and it's interesting. I mean, kind of once you take out once the AoE damage is done, once you take the carries out, and Karthus and Graves deal a ton of damage as carries, that's for sure. But once the initial AoE happens, and once the carries get taken out, there's not very much damage between Amumu and Karthus. So Amumu and Malphite.
I mean, if Graves is getting assassinated, and his GA was popped pretty early in that fight, despite the fact that Tempest had to go so deep to get that to happen. Akali lived, and Akali is no slouch at doing damage, clearly.
Yeah, I mean, and the lifesteal, you need enough damage to beat through that, and there's just... Amumu and Malphite don't have that luxury, unfortunately. And kind of, it was funny. Oh, sorry, it's Nunu, actually. Oh, never mind. More initiations happening. Delusion's getting pretty low here, but I don't think this is a good spot. True Barrage will come in, doing a fair amount of damage, but Graves is actually in the mid. This is a good spot here for Synergy. Kowena now getting chased down by Akali. Takeshi coming in as well with the snowballs. They're going to try and assassinate. Amumu picks him up there. Absolute Zero greatly channeled there by Takeshi, and I think Trollofeed could be in a bit of trouble. Dizzy comes in as well. Black Shield not enough there for the physical damage, so Akali kind of gets traded off there for 3 kills. So not too bad.
That was a very weird fight, because neither AD carry was anywhere near the fight, so it was kind of an AD carryless fight where... Yeah. But look at this, I don't believe... no. MIS have no idea that Baron is going down here, although Takeshi has worked it out.
Yeah, Nuna's like, oh no, this is bad news. So Akali will not see this Baron, but the first Baron of the game will go to Synergy there, as Cutie Panda managed to smite that up as Nautilus. It was funny, actually, you're right, having no IDs there kind of hurt, but Ezreal's ultimate actually did a fair amount of damage to Karthus, so I guess he was faster to the fight than Graves.
Well, I mean, that's the advantage of Ezreal there. He was able to show his presence with, probably about 800 AoE damage altogether between the diminishing damage per hit, but it tipped the balance.
And of course, once he shows up to the fight, he's got his passive charge, and he's got that bonus attack speed, which is that built-in steroid that he has. Sona double kill apparently we missed. Oh man, fried chickens, doing us proud. Channeling the spirit of Ghosty Pepper.
The lock at the Iron Solari, which is a great pickup against. It's kind of an unsung item. Not, a lot of supports will pick it up eventually just because it builds out of Heart of Gold, but against especially a Karthus or in general an AoE team, having AoE protection against an AoE team, perfect.
Yeah, absolutely, and you can see just the large amount of health stacking that's actually going on here for Sona, and she realizes that Fried Chicken's like, I really don't want to get picked up by all this AoE. There's a chance I get caught, I want to be able to use my ultimate, and the better I can survive through the AoE.
And that's 210 shield for everyone on the team, and given that Karthus' ultimate, what's it hitting for right now? His ultimate's hitting for about 850. His Defile is hitting for just over 210. I mean, even if it's only a second of Defile damage, that can be the difference.
Yeah, and we're going to see Dizzy pick up the blue buff now as well. So Morgana pretty happy with this one. Going nicely on her build as well. Building up towards a Void stuff, which you may want to finish before the next fight. But I think Synergy are going to try and make something happen here with this Baron, which is always smart. You always want to try and do what you can with Baron. Troller feed, that is not the right spot. But Cutie Panda well doesn't pull the trigger. He can't quite ultimate.
Akali was out of position. Akali and Sona were kind of putting up wards and just not in the right position there. It would have been a bit of a hasty engage.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to make a split-second decision like that, but oh man, that was tense. Troller feed, whoa man. Almost very nearly giving losing his team the game. If he had gotten caught, that would have just been ridiculous.
And this standoff is tense. Like, a lot of this game is still up for grabs. It has certainly not been decided at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Akali's actually got Azoni's name as well. I think it's a pretty smart pickup. Going for a fairly tanky build, so if she'd gone, say, Rabadon's or Lich Bane, or even a combination of the two, she'd obviously opt for more burst damage, but I think she realizes through a lot of this AoE, she just kind of needs to live a little bit longer, because she's diving.
It's the active there that she's picking it up for. It's not the armor necessarily, because it's only Graves doing physical damage on the enemy team.
Well, if she's into Assassinate Graves, I think that makes even more sense. And I think that's a nice pickup there from Akali, versus something that she could have gotten like a pure damage item. But at this point, Akali's build has to be built against AoE, and we've talked about how Akali just isn't very good against AoE. So Akali's doing what she can, I think, in this position. And interesting to see that she's actually still relevant in this game, because you really think that if it goes this late, and
you need to be a skilled Akali player to be relevant against this team. That's for sure. If you pick the wrong engage, if you ultimate in and dash in at the wrong time, you can drop so fast.
Yep, absolutely, and we've seen the fights that Synergy have won. Akali has made the right choices. Top lane's actually pushing in for minions as well, so very patient here from Synergy. They have Baron. They realize that they can poke back and forth fairly freely, and of course, once someone peels away to defend something like this mid hit, we've got minions pushing in as well. They should be able to take this tower, or at least do damage slowly but surely.
At this point, with Baron buff and the lock at the Iron Solari, 40 HP regen per second is being granted between those two buffs.
That is a lot.
Yep, that's for long poking engages. They are way in a superior position.
Synergy going to come in for this inhibitor as well, but they have to be careful again. They need to be very cautious with their engages. Dredgeline got cancelled. Whoa, that was weird.
It's still on cooldown, so can still use it.
Okay, yeah, I thought so too, but I swear I saw the thing go off there. Troller feed is going to get hit up by the Dredge on Akali. Goes in, true chop rush from Ezreal from very long range. I think the smart play Delusions comes in for Tempest, but can't quite pick it up. Stewie coming in as well. Is still alive though, but gets picked off there as well. Synergy needs to be very careful. Requiem is going to do a ridiculous amount of damage. Ezreal will take some. Another trying to chase down Troller feed. He picks it up, but gets picked off there as well. And I don't think Nautilus has enough to pick up everybody else here. Takeshi and Koena will kite back and forth. Nautilus is not going to be able to pick up this inhibitor by himself, and Dredgeline's to the wall to get out of it as well. So close to being the right engage there for Synergy, but Ezreal just going a little bit too deep there. And man, Karthus' ultimate just does silly amounts of damage.
And it's worth noting that, I mean, Ezreal went in too deep at the end, but before that, he got Malphite ultimate. Malphite only ultimated one person, and it was kind of his dying wish was to ultimate Ezreal, because Ezreal was so far behind the rest of the team in his positioning. They did not take that damage, but unfortunately, he just needed to he needed to arcane shift in by the end, because the rest of the team just got dropped by that massive AoE from MIS. And again, I feel like we're no closer to knowing who's going to win this game, Pastry.
I think so too, but I do like the choice here from Ezra. He's got Last Wish, of course, which was part of the reason Malphite just got shredded in that last team fight. But he's changed his tune. He's like, alright, I'm not really getting caught in the AoE anymore. My team's doing what they need to do by protecting me. My positioning has been good. I like that he kind of, True Shot Barrage in for a bit of extra AoE there on top of Depth Charge and Morgana's Soul Shackles, and then just kind of went in after to try and play cleanup. And of course, cleaning up the Bruiser that would try to jump on top of him. Malphite just got owned in that last fight. But if he had had a GA in that last fight, that would have been a lot better for him. And now he has a GA. Because we did see Graves' GA get popped there as well in the last fight, which was part of the reason the MIS were able to kind of get the fight to parity that they did. And I think GA is going to make a fairly big difference. But of course, the question is now, do MIS change the way they initiate and try and catch Ezreal in the AoE as well? Because he's of course now vulnerable.
And will MIS try and initiate in the next 3 minutes while Graves' Guardian Angel is down?
I think that would be very, very smart if they did so, and I would expect that from Synergy, and I think they want to as well. I mean, this inhibitor's still up as well. They've definitely got the edge to be aggressive here.
And another fight incoming right here.
Yep, so there's the Amumu getting proc there as well. Delusions back and forth. Tempest kiting still again. Great ultimate here from Takeshi and Dizzy. Oh, with a clutch Zhonya's there. Managing to stun quite a few people up, but Tempest needs to do way more damage than I think he's able to do. Probit comes back as well, but they're in the defile now as well, and Akali will get dropped here. Requiem is going to almost pop to the air, but not quite. And Fried Chickens and Tempest going to try and run away as a duo, but that fight went to MIS, and they're going to go up 2-3 in this one. Takeshi's so ridiculously fast! The Turbo Nunu comes in and Fried Chickens gets picked off there. Now Tempest, the only member left, his GA still up as well.
I think Koana was channeling Spider-Man right there with that bandage.
Web shot. And it's going to be mid-tower as well. Graves just demolishing that structure there with all his attack damage. I mean, we talked about Graves getting nerfed. His quick draw not nearly as good as it used to be, but Blood Boil is a pretty good steroid. And Graves is just doing silly, silly things. And I think that's probably something I forgot to comment on when I was talking about late-game carry potential. Not only does Graves, as you said, Smithy, fit into their comp well, he's got more than enough attack speed with Nunu here as well, which may even factor into the reason they picked Nunu as their support. But this is just an absolute... The buildings are all dying. They're getting absolutely
and that's
slaughtered.
The thing with Graves, because early game he can function as that AD caster and really complement a AoE team fight, and late game he transitions into just a normal AD carry. Okay, he has 525 range, but between the Nunu steroid and the items he's picked up, there's certainly no slouch on the damage front troller feed here.
Yeah, and I think Nunu is just such a great pick in this situation for that exact reason, and Graves hurts everybody. Actually, True Shot Barrage is going to check Baron here, but that is not where MIS are going. They may go there soon. We could see a quick Baron attempt here from Synergy. We'll have to see. But I don't know, this game is still really, really close. Only 3,000 gold, still in the advantage of Synergy, by the way. I feel like MIS have managed to do this well, despite being behind on gold the entire game, but 45 minutes, or almost up to the 45-minute mark, gold starts to matter a lot less at this point.
And I do feel that after that team fight, the game is starting to slip into MIS's advantage here with their team comp, with that neutering of Akali, you could say, with all the AoE. But look, we'll have to see.
Yeah, I think so as well. And there's an initiation here to Shirley's and the Blood Boil coming in so fast there. Probit gets snipe bandaged again by Koana. Oh, the ult, but Black Shield is enough there. Randy Wood's not quite in range as well, as Koana kind of misses everything at that point. Sniper bandage yet again though, and Probit still in quite a bit of trouble. They really want to pick him up, but down here, Ultimate being channeled by Takeshi. Great spot for it as well. Cutie Panduel takes a ridiculous amount of AoE damage, and Stewie will come into the fight as well. Soul Shackles from Morgana will stun Troll or Fee, but I don't know if it's going to be enough there. And yeah, the Graves just turns around and does stupid amounts of damage. Tempest cannot find a line to get into this fight, and Troll of Feet is now chasing people down. Zhonya's there from Stewie. Fried Chickens will get taken out. It's just a matter of who gets the kill. Game over there for Cerner, and I think possibly for the rest of Synergy as well. They may decide to ban, they may decide just to push, but...
And there is the GG well played in chat from Synergy, so we'll see if that's... I think they just have plenty of time to end it here, but we'll see if the surrender comes through.
Yep. So maybe they'll go for the double explosion, just to make it even more epic. This has been a pretty thrilling game, so that may be the best way to end it. Troll Feet looking for even more kills. GA still up for Tempest, but I don't think it's going to be enough at this point. There is so much damage from this Graves, and these towers are going to get dropped very, very quickly.
5 low health members, but 5 members up here. And correctly predicted. I think this is going to be game.
Yeah, they've got enough to tank through there. I think Synergy know what's up. They've played a valiant game here, but MIS Consulting will take it. They're good game, well played. The Nexus goes down, and Mana Requiem there from Stewie as well, just to the end there to kind of close out that game.
The exclamation point.
and what a fantastic game between the two teams. But MIS Consulting will take it out and advance to, I believe, the top 4 now. Looking to pick up yet another online tournament victory. That would make it 2 in a row. Of course, the winners of the last MWave, if they manage to pick this one up as well, they'll be 2 for 2. in about as many
I
weeks.
refreshed the brackets here to just get an idea of what we have lined up.
Yep, so we'll be back with more games as well, guys. We'll throw on a bit of music. I need a bit of water as well, and of course, bathroom break. So we should be back in a few minutes. We'll let you know what game we are going to, so don't get anywhere, guys. Stay on this channel. My name is Perry Strong. I'm being joined by Papa Smithy here for MWave Go4LoL #1, the first ever here for ESL Australia. Stay tuned, guys. We'll see you shortly.